Still think Uber is confident in their self-driving future? Well, we've got a news story today that suggests otherwise. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and Uber is not confident in the self-driving future. In fact, I don't think a lot of companies are confident in the self-driving future. And I keep having articles proving my point. First of all, you have Apple pretty much putting the brakes on their self-driving division. When you have a company like Apple saying, hey, you know what, this isn't really working out, then I think you got to pay attention. But now Uber themselves might actually be admitting that in an indirect way. Because according to this article, Uber is open to outside investment into self-driving car unit. That is not something company says when it's like, oh yeah, things are fine, everything's under control, we've got everything worked out, this is the future, you know, everything's fine. They'd be like the Fonzie. It's like, no, this is a company who's looking at the future and going like, geez, we're in trouble. Well, we'll talk about that. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So let's read this article. Uber Technologies Chief Executive Officer Dara Khosrowshahi said it was possible the ride-hailing giant would look for outside investors for its self-driving car unit, but isn't currently searching for backers. The company is pouring large, undisclosed sums of money into its advanced technologies group, which includes the company's self-driving car research, as well as plans to build VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, at scale and speed, with a goal of them becoming mass-market technology, which is interesting because I was really under the impression that Uber was not going to be in the business of developing the cars themselves, just the software. But the software has been very problematic since day one, which, again, fair enough, new technology. I don't want to, act like I'm an idiot about that thing, but, what does their division do? Khosrowshahi was speaking to Bloomberg's News' Brad Stone at the World Economic Forums in Davos, Switzerland on Wednesday. Uber is competing with Alphabet's, Waymo's, Tesla Inc., and the world's traditional auto manufacturers and startups. That's the other company I forgot, Tesla. Tesla's company is suffering right now, and their autonomous, cars, apparently they have the software in the cars, you just can't really use them. In the race to develop self-driving vehicles, Waymo launched the first autonomous ride-hailing service in Phoenix, Arizona in December, but the service is only available to a test group of about 400 people in a limited geographical area, and a human safety driver is still needed behind the wheel in case the car encounters situations where artificial intelligence systems can't handle, which is quite frequent. I did a video talking about how the average length that these cars go before they need human interaction is about 1 to 2 miles. Despite heavy investment, companies working on self-driving technology have been pushing back forecasts for when fully autonomous cars without safety drivers are likely to be widely available, as they discover training a computerized system to handle the complexity of road and weather conditions is a far harder task than initially envisioned. Oh, you think? You think? You see, and that's the other thing. Uber Hints did a video fairly recently where he showed like all these technologies that they were testing out. They had successful tests, and it's like, oh, this is going to be the future. And they were like 50 years ago, nothing ever happened with them. And that's because investors will show these things. It's like, oh, look, we can do this, and you get investment money then. But to actually put it on a mass scale, that's a much harder thing to do. And that's one of the reasons that has been dooming these self-driving cars. What's also interesting here is like, this kind of shows that this really was an investment ploy for a lot of companies. Because how many people said, oh, 2020, we're gonna have them everywhere. They're gonna be on the roads. You are gonna be getting rid of your little Toyota Corolla and you're gonna be in a self-driving vehicle by 2020. And heck, you'll be in the flying car by 2021. Problem is, 2020, well, that's less than a year away. And they're nowhere close to that. So it's like, oh no, maybe it's going to be like 2023. And it's like, that's why one of the recurring jokes on my channel is it's always 3 years away. That should be a t-shirt or a mug that I make. Self-driving cars, they're just 3 years away. Because it's true, right? Uber restarted testing of its self-driving cars on public roads in December following a 9-month hiatus as a result of one of its prototypes having struck and killed a pedestrian. The company's ATG division has also been at the center of other costly controversies. After Uber hired former Waymo engineer Anthony Lewandowski to head its self-driving efforts, the Alphabet company sued Uber, alleging Lewandowski had stolen trade secrets. Lewandowski subsequently left Uber and founded a new self-driving truck company, Proto AI. And by the way, another fun story. I never made a video on this, but I really want, maybe I still will, but Lewandowski has also become the pastor of a church, the Church of AI, where he preaches the gospel of AI overtaking the world and becoming one with, humanity. You can't make that stuff up. You just can't. I'm going to make that video. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to make that video. In February 2018, as a trial in the case was underway, Uber settled the suit. Last year, Uber announced it would open a lab in Paris focused on flying cars, which would be its first research and development center outside of the U.S. Karashahi said that at the time the company was no longer just about cars, but also about urban mobility. Toyota Motor Corp, which has a deep interest in being the first of the flying car market, invested $500 million in Uber 2018 and sees the American company's advanced technologies groups as essential to its corporate value. Because people will invest in companies that they think are making progress. It's when and here's the thing, even if those things don't pan out, a few years down the line when everyone's cooled on that idea and they've moved on to the next thing, why does Toyota and Uber care? They got their money, so... But here too, Uber is not alone. A dozen other companies, including aviation giant Airbus SE and two startups backed by Alphabet co-founder Larry Page, are working to develop and commercialize flying cars. Oh, we've been developing the flying cars for 50 years. Come on. So here's the thing. The way this article is written, it kind of suggests that Uber is open to outside investment because, hey, it's just so big that, that a little help would be nice. But here's the thing. In none of the cases, they've been able to produce cars that work the way they're supposed to. The flying cars, heck, even Boeing's little successful air thing where they said, oh, it's a success. The vehicle went up and then it went down. It went up and then it went down. It didn't actually go anywhere. In fact, here's a funny story. One of my viewers pointed this out fairly recently, and he said this was almost like a Simpsons did it joke. Because when helicopters were first developed, they actually thought that would be the flying car. People would take the helicopters from one building to the next. You could get places a lot faster. And granted, we do have helicopters out there, and particularly news stations use it. But it was a way harder to install the helicopter landings on top of the buildings. And to get to them in the first place, it was just a nightmare. So ultimately, helicopters did not become the taxi of the future. They became the taxi for like the media and, certain officials and, of course, the military. But that was a thing at one point. They thought helicopters were going to be like a taxi service, and they just wouldn't be able to figure it out. But now we're talking about flying cars. Now we're talking about self-driving cars. And here's the thing. Uber has been doing this long enough, and they showed such confidence that for them to now say, well, we might be looking for outside investments at some point. No. You're not getting anywhere. It's clear you're not getting anywhere. And you're spending a lot of money to not go anywhere. So, as a way to show that they are still in the game, but to unload some of the costs themselves, and also to make them as a company look better, because if you have other companies investing in you, you do look better. It's like, hey, Google, Toyota, Nissan, if you guys want to partner with us and give us some money, we can do this together. And that shoulders some of their financial burden. It gets more money invested in the company, and to see them partnered with other companies highly raises the value of their upcoming IPO. I hate how smart they are sometimes. I really do. Uber has got it all figured out, except how to make money, of course. But, that's who they are. But what say you? Do you think this is an admission of a roundabout, admission of basically Uber saying we're struggling with this? Or do you see this as, hey, they actually have things quite under control and they're just looking for more investments? What say you? I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly, and you get access to my exclusive patrons only blog. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.